Hello and welcome back to the academyofworship.org YouTube channel. We're here to teach you stuff about worship and guitars and instruments and things that we do in worship. What are we learning today? Well, delay! We get to cover the essential worship tool, delay. I know I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because, come on, it's kind of a thing in worship now. Lots of delay. It's like U2 did their thing, someone in the worship community picked it up, now we're doing all that craziness. So, whatever, we have delay. Today we're going to be covering the basics of delay. I don't plan on going in depth in all of the stuff you can do with delay, much like our last video with gain. I didn't go into detail on a lot of the things you can do with gain or the settings that you can use when using gain. So today, similarly, we're going to be delving into what delay is and how you can use it in worship and just otherwise on your instrument, and some of the basic settings you can use. So when we start using delay, we want to concentrate on a couple of main things. And I want to throw a caveat out there in that we haven't been talking about specific gear in this entire series. And we're going to continue that in this video, and then I'm not going to recommend anything specific. The only thing I am going to say is you're more than likely going to want to get what's called a tap tempo. If you've never used delay before, this may be a new concept for you, but if you've done this before, then you know exactly what a tap tempo is. For those that don't know, it's literally a button that you tap with your foot to put the tempo repeats in time with the music that you're playing. In worship music, this is kind of a key thing. You really need to have this. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to dial it in. Do you have to have it? No. You could still use it, I guess, without a tempo. But for the sake of this video, though, I am using a delay with a tap tempo on it. So whenever I play the guitar, more than likely, I'm hopefully going to tap this into tempo of whatever I'm playing and demonstrating. So please keep that in mind as we go forward in this video. Okay, disclaimers aside, delay. There are a million types of delay out there. It doesn't really matter what you get. You're going to see so many people talking about this pedal, this unit, that unit, which one's better, which one sounds better. To be honest with you, anything is going to work as long as you probably have a tap tempo, like I said before. Just get yourself a delay and play with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the type of delays you can get out of a unit. And there's two things to consider. What type of delay it is, meaning the actual sound of the delay itself. There's many out there. There's analog delay, digital delay, tape delay, variations on those themes, as well as other ones you can get. That's the sound of the delay, and I'll demonstrate some of those for you in just a minute. The other thing to keep in mind is the subdivision of delay. What does that mean? Well, when you're using a tap tempo, you're usually going to tap it to the beat of the song. So if the song is in, that's what your foot's going to do. Tap, 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 echo, echo. Or if it's a subdivision thereof, it could be even, meaning it could be eighth notes. So you'd hear echo, 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 right? It would tap eighth notes or even 16th notes, which you get the idea. Subdivide that in half again. Or a really popular one, which is dotted eighth note delay, which falls in between. If you know The Edge from U2, that's a lot of his sound. A lot of the big epic sounds that he got with his guitar was on the dotted eighth. And I have to say that a lot of worship music right now has a lot of dotted eighth in it. There's also combinations of the two. Some delay pedals allow you to combine both the eighth note or quarter with a dotted eighth, so you get kind of a double echo after your note. That's all far deeper than I'm wanting to go in this video. I just want to introduce the idea of putting delay on your guitar, some of the different sounds, and some basics of it. Okay, enough yapping. Here's my bass guitar tone, which we've established in previous videos. That's both pickups. And neck. Now comes the fun part. Let's add delay to it. Right now, I'm turning on a quarter note delay, which means whatever I tap on the tap tempo is going to be what you hear. Okay, that was super even. All the drummers out there just went nuts. So I got. Pretty straight ahead. That's a quarter note. Now is the dotted eighth note, the coveted dotted eighth note subdivision. This is the same tempo I just tapped in. See how that kind of falls in between my pick? That's a good example of a dotted eighth note delay. And then we have one that not all delay units may have. This is the quarter note with dotted eighth using the same tempo I had before. See how it kind of gallops? So some don't have that. In this case, we do on this unit that I'm using. On most delay pedals, you have a few controls. You have volume or delay level. That's literally the level of the delays after your guitar signal. So if you want them super loud, crank that up. If you want them to sit just behind your guitar tone, turn it down a little bit. There's a feedback knob. Sometimes it'll be called repeats or something along those lines. That always is how many repeats you want to hear of the delayed signal. If you want it to just go on forever and wash your guitar signal out and be really ambient, crank that control way up. If you're doing fast guitar lines or something that involves some intricate picking or something, turn that down and let the delays echo there, but only do it like once or maybe twice. And then you usually have a delay time knob. This functions much in the same way that your tap tempo does. Your tap tempo gives you instant access to a time. The delay time knob, you can manually adjust how fast or slow the delay or repeats are. Now let's talk about the actual sound of the delay, because there's actually some choices you can make. Some pedals are a single sound. You get like an analog delay sound. Some of them are just digital, an exact copy of what you put into it. So it's pristine, has all the high end. When you get into like the analog delays, you get lots of rolled off high end, so they come back a lot darker than what you originally put into them. So right now this is a analog delay. So you can notice how the high end is rolled off a bit and it's not quite as bright as the initial attack of the guitar. Another popular one, and my personal favorite, is tape delay. This one's a little different in that it emulates an old tape echo machine, which has literal tape running through it, which means there's degradation of the tape itself, the physical tape. So there's all kinds of mechanical stuff that comes into play. In my case, it's a digital representation of that. You can get actual floor units that are tape delays, but they're expensive. But in this case, it's my favorite. When you let that go underneath your tone, because of that tape warble and the emulation of that tape being what it is, you're going to get almost a chorusing effect underneath your tone, which is really cool. It can add some really cool ambiance. But that's why it's my favorite. It just sounds so good on guitar. Another sound of a delay can be digital, which means that you're going to get almost the exact same thing repeated that you put in. So it has lots of high end and it sounds pristine and clear. There's variations on that theme in that you can add modulation to the delays and things like that. We're not going to get into all the weeds with that stuff, but here's a digital delay. Pretty cool. And there are so many other sounds and types of delays out there. I'm not going to get into them. There are tube delays. There's space delays, which are kind of a play on some tape. There's lo-fi delays. The list goes on. There's all kinds of delays out there. The idea is to have your guitar sound with echoes after it. That's all. We're not getting into too much detail here. It's just a matter of adding some movement to your guitar playing that wouldn't otherwise be there. So that's it, everybody. Delay. Put some on. Flip some switches. Turn some knobs. Have a good time with it and see how you can use it in the music that you're creating.